Welcome in veteran sportscaster, longtime voice of Showtime Boxing. Mr. Al Bernstein is here. How about this? This is so exciting. Have a seat, Al.
You got it.
Welcome to my world.
Very nice to see you.
What a pleasure. Can you hear yourself?
I can, yes.
You can or cannot?
I can.
Okay, I can't hear him in my headset, so let's work on that.
All right.
This is a big deal. Now I can hear you. We're
There you
live
go.
on Twitter right here with the
Excellent.
exclusive home for Twitter for all things Mayweather-McGregor, and I appreciate
Perfect.
you doing this because I know you're a very busy man. Let me ask you this. When you first found out about this fight and that it would air on Showtime, your first thought?
We had a little inkling as they were negotiating, getting ready to do it, and my first thought was that it would be something of a spectacle, and guess what? That's exactly what it is, huh?
Has it exceeded your expectations as far as the magnitude, the spectacle?
Yes, I think the amount of attention that's being paid to it, the amount of energy concentrated on it is actually more than I even thought it was going to be, and to be honest, even more than for Pacquiao Mayweather.
Really? You feel like
Yeah.
this is bigger?
I do, actually.
Why?
And I'm not, for the hardcore boxing fan watching going to say, "Oh my God, he's equating it." I'm not equating it in the ring necessarily, but just the sheer amount of attention it's getting. I mean, I can quantitatively, this is is not a scientific way to look at it. My phone's blowing up more than it did for Pacquiao Mayweather.
Okay.
So that's and I have a friend of mine who has never watched. He's not even a sports fan. Has never watched. Doesn't watch the Super Bowl every year. He's buying this fight.
Wow.
So.
Was there ever a point where you thought, all right, with the world tour and everything, this is getting to be a little uncomfortable, like it's kind of reaching, this is bad for boxing, I don't know how much, like, did you ever feel that?
Well, I think it was so over the top, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think less is more with most things, right?
Uh-huh.
So as they kept going with the tour, clearly there was this need to somehow ramp it up another notch. And I'm, so clearly it was over the top. But I think that people kind of expected that from these two fighters. They especially expected it from Conor, who is known to be, shall we say it, flamboyant.
Yes. Are you a fan of his? Like, did you know who he was? Did you go out of your way to watch him?
I watch MMA.
Yes.
I
remember you doing Elite XC, Show XC back in the day on Showtime.
Yes, I have done about 6 or 7 MMA shows.
Yep.
Play-by-play, which I enjoyed thoroughly. So I watch MMA and I follow it. I'm not an expert like you guys, but I watch it, and so sure, I was keenly aware of him.
The boxing community initially said this was a mockery. How could he go for 50-0 against a guy who's 0-0? What if he loses, things like that? Where do you fall in line as far as the matchmaking?
Yeah, here? I see it as a one-off. So I'm not worried about the 50-0. I don't even consider this like, if you're going for a record, you don't fight a guy that's 0-0 if the record is the idea. Although it really isn't the record. That's ironic, too, because Ricardo Lopez finished his career 56-0-1. Great champion, Hall of Famer. And that draw came after 49-0. So, but I think that this is a one-off. This is a specific event that you can look at on its own and decide whether you think it merits your attention or it doesn't merit your attention, and look at it that way. So I understand why people look at it and say, boxing's had one of its best years in 2017.
Yes.
2013 was great. This year has been almost as good. So my feeling is this doesn't diminish boxing. It doesn't diminish MMA. It doesn't do any of that. It's a one-off event.
So let's say Floyd wins.
Yeah.
Do you not consider him 50-0? Do you consider him 49-0?
I guess he's 50-0, but to me, I don't equate that as something that merits saying, oh my God, he broke a record, he's 50-0. No, because he's fighting a guy that has never had a professional fight. So I don't see it that way. It doesn't diminish what he did, and I'm not saying it's not an achievement.
Do you subscribe to the notion that if Floyd loses, this is disastrous for boxing? How could he lose, arguably the greatest fighter of our generation, to a guy who's 0-0? Well,
here's the thing. There's two things about this. I don't know if it's disastrous for boxing, though I believe that if he should lose, if McGregor's able to pull off a miracle, I do believe it's very much like when Bobby Riggs beat Margaret Court.
Okay.
And then Billie Jean King had to come back and win for the honor of women's tennis.
Yes.
that will be exactly the way it is for this. Now, one of the caveats to this, and I'm not making an excuse, but I'm just saying, Floyd Mayweather is pound for pound, the best fighter of the last couple of decades in the sport of boxing. But he is coming here off the longest layoff of his career at age 40.
Yeah.
So he's not an active participant in boxing as he was. Still, however, if he should lose to Conor McGregor, it would be certainly a blow. In general, I think it would be one of those things. It's like the reason the Margaret Court analogy is perfect is nobody expected, there wasn't that big a hoopla, nobody expected Bobby Riggs to beat Margaret Court, and by all rights, he shouldn't have. But something that day made her just freeze at all his antics, and he won the match.
But you don't, there has been a conscious effort, and I talked to your boss, Stephen Espinosa, today about it, also Floyd earlier today, conscious effort to not show any training footage, him eating Burger King, him going out roller skating. I think they want the people to think that he's not taking this seriously. Floyd is taking this seriously, right?
Oh, I think
he's training like a madman.
Yeah, listen, Floyd Mayweather is a perfectionist. And one thing you can say about Floyd Mayweather, even though, he's had his moments in life where maybe he didn't comport himself as well as everyone would like, the fact of the matter is he has been... he's meticulous about the way he prepares and what he does in boxing. So I doubt very much if he would take this lesson seriously.
So to play off your analogy earlier, is Paulie Malignaggi Billie Jean King?
No, I don't. That's an interesting comparison now that I think about it.
He comes in and saves the day.
I don't know if it would be him, but somebody would have to come in and save the day.
So I'm dying to ask you about this. Paulie is your partner.
Correct. He is our cohort on the broadcast.
However, he has very much been a part of this story. In fact, I think that he is doing more promotion, better promotion than Floyd himself. As recently as yesterday. Did you see the clip yesterday?
I did actually see the clip, yes.
What do you make of this?
Well, I haven't talked to Paulie since our last fight was when we did Adrian Broner and Mikey Garcia. Very good fight.
Yes.
And I haven't talked to Paulie at all since all of the most recent stuff began. So I don't, I don't have any new
would you prefer that he didn't get so involved?
I will take the Fifth Amendment on that. How's that? Let's pretend for a second that I am that you are on the Intel Committee.
Okay.
And I am
what's the line
Donald
of thinking?
Trump Jr.
What's the line of thinking? Way to go political on this.
Yeah, that was good.
What's the line? Why do you not want to talk about it? Just is it too sensitive?
No, not too sensitive. It's just been, it's obviously been part of it. It kind of goes hand in hand with the whole this promotion because it's so unorthodox, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's very rare that somebody that's going to be on broadcast would spar with somebody, and I think it took a couple of weird turns, and I don't know all the details about it.
Knockdown or pushdown?
Pardon?
Was it a knockdown or a pushdown? You've seen the footage.
I saw the video. You could go either way on it. Yeah. I think but clearly McGregor had some good moments there. Whether those good moments were spread over 12 rounds, and Paulie made the point that, he came in late and they sparred 12 rounds. Normally, I think one of the things is he probably shouldn't have sparred 12 rounds because if you're not ready, you can't.
He thinks he was being set up.
Yeah, well, I don't.
That it was more of a fight than a spar.
You know what? I don't know the details of that, so I can't speak.
Can I ask you about this? What do you make of the Nevada Athletic Commission's decision to allow them to wear 8-ounce gloves in a 154-pound fight?
Well, the group of the ring ring physicians has
they went against it.
Yes, they have criticized them for it. Part of the thing is that 8-ounce gloves, of course, are worn up to 148.
Yep.
And Floyd Mayweather has worn 8-ounce gloves most of his career. And McGregor, of course, has fought with 4-ounce gloves. So their theory was that even though they're fighting at a very slightly higher weight, this would still be within safety bounds. I don't think it has that big an impact on the fight.
You don't?
I just don't, because I know people are saying it could help McGregor because at least they're not 10-ounce gloves. And I guess to that extent it would. But Mayweather's very comfortable with those 8-ounce gloves.
What's the game plan to beat Mayweather, in your opinion? What would you tell Conor? What does he need to do?
Yeah, it's a little tricky because Conor McGregor, as you well know, the people that have done well against Floyd Mayweather, Marcos Maidana, Jose Luis Castillo, are boxers who are very good at an aggressive style. I thought the first fight with Maidana, in my opinion, was a draw. Maidana did very well, getting inside, crowding him, throwing a lot of punches, working the body. That's not really who Conor McGregor is as a stand-up fighter in MMA, correct?
Right.
He likes to counterpunch. He likes to stay on the outside.
Yep.
He's more of a boxer type. But he's going to be the bigger man. You know, he's fought at 154 pounds, really 155 in MMA, 10 times. Mayweather's only fought at 154 twice. He's gonna rehydrate and weigh 20 pounds more than Mayweather at least. He's gonna need to be physical with him, but he's gonna have to find a way to do it within the confines of what he does as a fighter. He can't turn himself in 14 weeks of training into Marcos Maidana or Jose Luis Castillo. So I think the way to do it is be physical when he can. And Pat Miletich, who was on a video with me, the great MMA
absolute legend, living legend,
said he believes that when he can do it, he's got to get really physical with him. He's got to be physical with him, wear him down a little bit, and land a good straight left hand.
What's so fascinating about the fight is that his team is beyond confident. Like, I believe they believe.
So is McGregor.
But everyone is mocking him. The whole boxing community says, like, you're not even going to land a punch. You're not even going to hang in there. It's that dichotomy. Like, when Peter McNeely fought Tyson, he said, I'm going to knock him out. No one really believed that he was going to knock him out. But they really believe. Like, they truly think they're going to shock the world.
Yes.
It's a fascinating thing.
It is really intriguing. And Conor McGregor's confidence is kind of a relaxed confidence. Not when he's over the top and doing his shtick, but even today at the press conference,
subdued.
It's subdued, but it's actual confidence. He actually thinks that it's going to happen. And listen, if you don't get to that stage, you can't get to the next stage.
Right.
So it's going to be very intriguing. Mayweather is. He says we had our fighter meeting today with Mayweather.
Oh wow!
And he said, "I'm going to knock him out." He says this fight's not going the distance.
He says he's going forward. You believe him?
No, I don't believe he's going forward, but I think he believes he's going to knock him out.
Okay.
I think not at the beginning of the fight, because I think Floyd Mayweather is kind of like the Borg on Star Trek. I don't know if you remember that, where they would you could shoot them with the rays, and at the beginning you could kill them, but then after about 5 times, they adapted and you can't do anything to him. He is the Borg. He cannot, after 3 rounds, you can't do anything to Mayweather. So I think that he's going to try and do what he's always done. Figure it out over the first 3 rounds, then move on and win the fight. But I think in this fight, because I think he is convinced McGregor will be tired by round 7 or 8, I think he's going to become more aggressive.
So you're calling for a Floyd stoppage?
Well, that's what he says is going to happen.
What's your
I don't make a prediction when I announce a fight.
Right.
I don't like doing that. So, but if Mayweather, but that is certainly one of the scenarios that Mayweather believes can happen.
Are you shocked at the odds that they're so close?
Yeah, I am. At the beginning, but I think the reason for that, and I'm not a gaming expert by any stretch, the reason for it is that when the odds first started, of course, a lot of money came in on McGregor because they were so high, and then they bet it down at the end of the day. I think smart money will come in on Mayweather closer to it.
2 last things for you, and this has been great. Thank you so much for the time.
No problem.
You being a part of such an event like this, the next couple of days, what's it like?
It's a zoo.
It's a zoo.
You get nervous? No, not really, because not for this.
Okay.
I mean, I do a lot of musical performing. That I get nervous for.
Okay.
But I think that for us, we're now into the part of the week where it's just very intense preparation. When I leave you here, we got 2 production meetings, one for the weigh-in show and one for our regular show. And tomorrow we'll interview all the undercard fighters.
Okay.
We'll get back. We'll have another production meeting. Then we'll do all our preparation. Finalizing all our notes and everything. So this last time before a big fight like this, I kind of get sequestered. So a lot of times when I'm doing a broadcast, I don't feel all this as much as if I were just covering it or were there. Okay. So this early part, and that's another thing. Normally, I'm not even a part of this part. I mean, I'll do 8 million radio and TV shows, but mostly by phone or go, like I went to LA and did it last week. I don't feel this part of it so much. I'm feeling it for this fight because here we are on Wednesday, and the energy is already pretty big.
That's amazing. Did you meet with Conor yet?
We haven't. I don't know that we're going to.
Why?
I don't know.
He's not a big fan of Showtime.
Pardon?
He's not a big fan of Showtime.
I don't think he is. I feel bad because I would have loved to have talked to him. And I have absolutely nothing in any way, shape, or form against him. So and let me say this. I'm going to say this to all your MMA fans.
Please.
At Showtime, when we do a boxing broadcast, and I hope most of the MMA fans understand this if they've seen our show.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this because I'm giving some kind of pro forma speech. We do not pay favorites, and we call fights the way they're supposed to be called. And that's the way this one will be called. So there is no matter what, even if there's animosity flowing somewhere, that means nothing to me.
Appreciate that.
And let me say, from Paulie's standpoint, he had issues with Adrian Broner when they fought. He's done several Adrian Broner fights since then, and I think been very fair. So, I can only speak for me, and I can only speak for the way Showtime does boxing. We do not look at a fight from one vantage point or
Appreciate
another.
that. Favorite fight you ever called?
Jose Luis Castillo and Diego Corrales.
Wow, yeah.
And a close second was Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hearns, which
fighter?
I did when I was 10 years old.
Yeah,
of course.
right. That's right. Favorite fighter?
My nose growing. Favorite fight? Castillo and Corrales.
Favorite fighter?
Oh, fighter. Sugar Ray Robinson from way, way, way back when I was a youngster. I watched him.
Favorite non-boxing event you ever called?
Okay. I announced. Let's see. I did a lot of college basketball for ESPN during that period. And I'm trying to think of a specific game. I can't think of a specific one, but
college basketball you like?
I enjoyed doing it a lot.
Bucket list event that you'd like to call before it's all said and done?
Golly.
What's one event that you'd say, you know what, I'd love to be there?
I would like to be a part of the broadcast of the Kentucky Derby. I think that would be a wild. I've never even been to the Kentucky Derby.
You're a big horse racing fan?
I'm a horseman. I ride horses.
Okay.
I've been involved with horses all my life, and so I love that. But I've never been to the Kentucky Derby.
All right. I hope you get
Do you
it.
have clout? Can you arrange that?
No. Actually, just in the MMA world, and it's very minimal. And they try to take it
Even
away.
in the MMA world,
Exactly.
you can't get me. But I did. By the way, I really enjoyed doing the MMA shows I did. I loved it.
I remember you back in the
worked with Pat. I worked with Stephen Quadros, the fight professor.
Let's get you back.
I did one with Phil Baroni. It was fun.
Right. He was here just a couple minutes ago, sitting in your seat.
I got to find him.
Yeah.
Phil's a good man. So I have great respect for mixed martial arts.
One thing that I've always appreciated about you as an MMA fan, but also as a big boxing fan, you aren't one of these boxing guys who try to disparage MMA and say that there's only room for one. You've always
plenty
given
of room
a lot
in the
of
combat sports tent for both, and there are many more crossover fans than I think people assume there are, and some people are not going to listen. I wrote this in my book. I said you can't. I'm not here to make. I wrote a whole chapter about mixed martial arts. I'm not here to make somebody believe that they should like one or the other. That's a personal choice. But don't denigrate the other if you just for the sake of it.
But isn't this fun? The two worlds coming together.
I think it's great.
This is great.
I think it's intriguing. I
once
know
in a lifetime.
Some people are distressed, but you know what? Right. Once in a lifetime. It's a one-off event that is kind of fascinating, and the only reason we're here is because these two larger-than-life personalities are able to make it happen.
And what I say is, there's a lot of things that you could be upset about in this world today.
Right.
This is not one of them. Let your hair down, enjoy it, have
That's
some
a very
fun.
good comment, because there are plenty of other things in life that are difficult.
What an honor this is.
All right, very
Thank
nice
you so
to
much,
talk
Al.
to you.
Best of luck to you on Saturday.
All
really
right, take
appreciate
care.
the time. There he is, Al Bernstein of Showtime Sports. He'll be on the call alongside Mauro Ranallo and Paulie Malignaggi as he heads off there. That was a lot of fun. You know me, I love the broadcasters. I'm a big mark for the broadcasters. They do a great job, and have been watching and appreciating his work for quite some time. That was awesome. Great to have Al Bernstein on the set, and wish him the very best on Saturday.